with Rachel Zegler after making this movie very political, after tying political statements with the overall marketing campaign of this film.
The drama surrounding Rachel Zegler's fall from grace reached a boiling point after her long-awaited response to the Snow White backlash was finally delivered, and promptly torched by audiences across the board. In what was clearly meant to be an image rehabilitation campaign, Zegler's half-hearted apology has only intensified the scrutiny. Instead of winning over skeptics or critics, she doubled down on the very sentiments that got her in hot water in the first place. And in doing so, she has not only confirmed suspicions about her attitude toward the Disney legacy she was entrusted with, but also cemented her status as a cautionary tale in modern Hollywood stardom. What makes this saga uniquely damaging is that Zegler was positioned to be Disney's next generational icon. Cast as Snow White in the studio's live-action remake of its most foundational property, she had all the ingredients of a rising star. But when pre-release press tours kicked off, so did the unraveling. Zegler made waves for her dismissive comments about the original film, describing the 1937 classic as weird and outdated, while stating that her version of Snow White would be focused on leadership rather than true love. Her stance, echoed by certain producers and even supported by progressive media, was seen as an attempt to modernize the tale. But to audiences who adored the original for its innocence, heart, and timeless magic, it came across as sneering condescension. The backlash wasn't slow. It was immediate. The film, already burdened with questions about creative direction, turned into a cultural flashpoint. Families opted out. Fans of the original felt insulted. And when the movie finally released, the numbers were a disaster. The Snow White remake failed to recover its budget in any meaningful way, and within weeks it was pulled from most theaters, leaving a wake of uncomfortable headlines behind it. That would have been enough controversy for any film, but Zegler's post-release reaction made it worse. In a recent statement framed as an apology, she attempted to explain her position, but managed only to twist the knife further. She opened by suggesting that her critics were part of a loud minority who couldn't handle a woman of color, playing a Disney princess. It was a tactical move, one that tried to frame backlash as mere racism or sexism. But this again missed the point. What fans took issue with wasn't the casting, it was the attitude. Zegler's apology was riddled with contradictions. She claimed to regret her behavior, only to insist moments later that she had no regrets about her perspective on the character or the film's critics. She spoke about strength and leadership, saying, "To be a strong woman is to remain silent," even as she delivered a multi-paragraph monologue blaming others for the fallout. It was classic non-apology territory, the kind that says, "I'm sorry you were offended," while subtly implying that offense was your fault to begin with. This form of damage control has become a template in Hollywood. Kathleen Kennedy used it during the Star Wars The Last Jedi meltdown. Meghan Markle employed it in response to criticism of her public image. It's a pattern that trades sincerity for optics and rarely lands with the people it's meant to win over. Zegler, whether advised by handlers or not, clearly adopted this playbook, and the result was immediate rejection. The public saw through it. The industry did too. Her career trajectory reflects that reality. Once heralded as Disney's newest Golden Girl, Zegler is now picking up roles in small-budget indie projects. Her upcoming film with Marissa Tomei is a modest production, expected to debut in limited release with a micro-budget in the $2 to $4 million range. It's not a comeback vehicle. It's a career limbo. The industry, which is often forgiving of controversial behavior when a star can deliver box office success, seems to have collectively decided that Zegler isn't worth the headache. After West Side Story underwhelmed, Shazam! Fury of the Gods flopped, and Snow White face-planted into irrelevance, the message is loud and clear. When controversy meets commercial failure, Hollywood walks away. It's more than just Zegler's comments that triggered this outcome. It's how she handled the aftermath. Rather than addressing legitimate fan concerns with humility and reflection, she went on the offensive. She accused her critics of being toxic, framed valid disappointment as misogyny, and cast herself as a victim of societal backwardness. Then, when the dust had truly settled and her options narrowed, she delivered an apology so insincere and so self-congratulatory that it poured gasoline on the fire. To be fair, Hollywood loves a redemption arc. Stars have recovered from far worse. Robert Downey Jr. clawed his way back from infamy. Lindsay Lohan is rebuilding. Even Brendan Fraser, long thought lost in the wilderness, made a stunning return. But the common factor in those comebacks is accountability, genuine self-awareness. Zegler's statement, by contrast, came off as deflection. She didn't own the tone-deaf interviews or the way her statements alienated audiences. She doubled down, dressed it in feminist rhetoric, and called it bravery. What makes this episode more tragic than scandalous is that it was avoidable. Had the Snow White remake approached its source material with care and reverence, updating respectfully rather than rewriting with contempt, it might have connected with both longtime fans and newer audiences. Instead, the film felt ashamed of its own legacy. From the reimagined story to the public messaging, everything signaled that the original was no longer good enough for modern viewers. And when you tell people their childhood favorites were problematic, don't be surprised when they opt out of the remake. This creative arrogance isn't unique to Snow White. We've seen it with The Little Mermaid, Peter Pan and Wendy, and even Marvel's Phase 4. There's a recurring belief in Hollywood that legacy stories must be rewritten from scratch to suit current political narratives. But in doing so, they often forget what made those stories beloved in the first place. Audiences want evolution, not erasure. They want heroes reimagined with love, not disdain. Disney, for its part, seems rattled. Multiple live-action projects are rumored to be on hold. Internal sources suggest the studio is reevaluating its remake strategy after Snow White's commercial and critical disaster. Some executives now reportedly believe that the project never should have gone forward with such a radically reimagined tone, and that Zegler's off-script interviews were a red flag from the start. Where things go from here is unclear. Zegler is still young. She could learn. She could reflect. But she needs to stop playing the victim and start acknowledging the damage she helped cause. She wasn't attacked for her ethnicity or her ambition. She was criticized for openly disrespecting a story that fans adore and for treating audience feedback like a nuisance instead of a conversation. Until that changes, she will continue to be a case study in Hollywood miscalculation, the starlet who had the spotlight but failed to understand the power of humility. If you made it this far, let us know what you think in the comments. Was Rachel Zegler misunderstood, or did she sabotage her own career with hubris and tone-deaf messaging? Can Disney salvage its live-action slate, or has the audience finally had enough of reboots that rewrite instead of respect? And if you want more breakdowns of Hollywood misfires, public meltdowns, and the forces shaping the entertainment industry behind the scenes, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications, because the fairy tales may be fading, but the real drama is just beginning.